Perjangers. Enjoy the show.
So, I don't know what we're going to call this podcast, but yeah, I'm pretty excited about it because I think you and I had similar viewpoints on The Acolyte. And I was surprised to see that they canceled it. I know it was getting a lot of shit online. If they were, a lot of fans being toxic about it and saying it was this and that and that and that. I'll start this podcast off this way. I thought that was some of the best goddamn Star Wars in years.
Yeah, I agree.
And they
100%.
did the Sith right.
I don't understand why it got so much hate. It seemed like a lot of people that was hating on it didn't even watch it. They just decided that they didn't like it.
Exactly.
Now, there was some people, I was saying, that have legitimate issues. The real, hardcore Star Wars fans, they had critiques that made sense, right?
Yes.
Points of interest to the overall story of Star Wars and how this series affects it.
Oh, absolutely.
I could kind of get that, but my new thing is I feel like Star Wars fans want the series to just die with them. You know what I mean? Like the ones that grew up with Star Wars want to just take the original reels, put it in the casket with me, and let it be done.
And that's it. Oh yeah.
Because this right here, even if it was in a new direction, this is the kind of content that you need to have a thing, move forward into the future and keep going. Not for nothing, but for me, and I might get a lot of hate for this, but overall, Star Wars has been a bit uninteresting or failed to deliver on part of their promise in my experiences, which is okay, you got samurai space wizards that rarely do samurai space wizard shit. Right? So, I mean, I get that, it's an opera and there's a lot of politics involved in it, like you see inside of those the 3 prequel movies with Palpatine, that which also got a lot of hate, but it was a mixed bag on that. On that. I think it grew on people as time went on.
Yeah, the sequel series is something that hopefully, after Filoni gets done fixing and mucking about to make it make sense, just like he did with the original prequel trilogy, Because when it came out, people were shitting on that. Now it's just like,
prequels,
it's not like the prequels. Like, wait, you guys were just shitting on that.
Y'all shit on the Y'all had the one guy getting ready to kill the guy that played Jar Jar was ready to jump off a bridge. Man.
Oh yeah, man! Oh my God, Hamid Best, Jesus Christ! Thank God he didn't do that. Oh
yeah, and he had this trial. He had this return, and now all of a sudden, people was clapping and applauding and cheering for his return as a Jedi.
I think that happened to Rey too. She got flack from Star Wars fans online after the sequel trilogy.
Hell yeah, man. So that's another thing with Star Wars. They gotta address. I mean, well, they ain't gotta do shit, but there's trolls online, right? And this don't apply to everybody. I already know that, right? 'Cause I know. There's black fans, there's white fans, and everything in between, Asians, Puerto Rican, whatever, right? That like Star Wars, that don't like Star Wars for legitimate reasons, but it's trolls online that every time they see a female, a black character, or a non-white character on there, they just go into a fucking frenzy.
Yeah, that's a perfect word. I was thinking of it too. That is the perfect word.
I don't get it. And I especially then, that's why it don't make sense for this series right here to get that much hate, because it was a hot series, it was a hot story, they had great fights.
A Wookiee
everybody wasn't the perfect series, but for what Star Wars has been offering, in my opinion anyway, this was up there with some of their best shit lately.
Oh, it has. I'd put it up there with The Mandalorian. And not a lot of people like The Mandalorian. Star Wars fans, I'm not going to say that they're toxic, but there's 2 camps. There are the fans who, like you're saying, they want to be buried with the original reels. How dare you try to make money and, expand the story and the whole universe. Nobody gets mad at Marvel for making another fucking comic or comic book movie. Well, here we go. Do you want to get the Secret Wars? Because this is how we're going to get there. You know what I mean? Now, they're cutting out the bullshit, and it's like the next projects they're doing. They're going with fewer projects that they're pumping out, and they're going to be focused on quality. That's kind of what I saw as with this show, you know, because fans immediately hated how Carrie-Anne Moss was killed in the first episode.
Yeah.
When Leslie Headland.
Yeah, that was a fumble in my opinion, and I think people was mad about the Wookiee too, not getting killed. Like, so the Wookiee Jedi got killed real easy or off screen or something like that. Something crazy.
It was off screen, and we didn't see him actually battle.
Ultimately, they weren't the focus of the focus of the story was Soul, right? He was the Jedi to watch inside of that series, and he made it all the way to the last episode.
That's what it was. It was what happened 16 years ago. What did you guys do? Like, this was, even from the conception of the show, how did the Sith get in power? And this is showing. And that was one of the best Easter eggs, was seeing Darth Plagueis in the back, because I've listened to the extended universe books. The Darth Sidious book was so great because it shows, okay, he had a master and he's part of the banking clan, which they can live for hundreds of years. And he had a really good story with Plagueis and setting up Palpatine, and how Palpatine was always the sorcerer, because there was a Sith that was a sorcerer and really into sorcery. And then there was the other Sith that just fed off of the dark side of the Force and powering through it. So this is expanding out the Sith in a way that we haven't gotten to see. That's where I'm right there with fans like, oh, she's the one you choose to kill first? Ugh. Yeah. But you know, they're setting up something 16 years ago. So she's going to be in the series, but it's also showing how the Jedi let Palpatine get in power. People are questioning the Jedi already, especially with the children and taking in children like babies. That's what.
That's the other thing that it was touching on a lot of that, man. Like how, like,
the one
there inside there's in the fan base, right? It's a discussion that goes on of what, like, how noble the Jedi really are when, you know, like, you kidnap and train up child soldiers and indoctrinate them into basically your cult, which is like a Sith argument, but I mean, like, it's questions that need to be answered, right? And we know that they're not infallible because they got caught up inside of all those politics. They're supposed to be a defense peacekeeping force, but we've seen them already be the aggressors, fighting wars and taking over planets and all kinds of stuff, right?
100%.
Because they say, like, oh, we got to stop this group. But for real, like, if it's not about the Sith, then why is the Jedi even being involved inside of some war? Y'all should be up on your temple doing y'all sutras or whatever, right?
But
so why are they even getting? But now you seeing, like, this series kind of exposed that, like, no, like, the Jedi playing dirty politics just like everybody else, man. And it's, you know, like, they got their own propaganda machines. And they spend things their own kind of way, and I think that's what really, 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 like, made some people angry, because it's like you stole a piece of my childhood heroes from me when you did that.
Well, here's the thing: the other thing fans are freaking out is how, I mean, I had to go back and rewatch, but Master Cal Mundi, he was in it, and they're like, he can't be that old. Like, guys, we're talking about fictional aliens. They can.
So tell me again who this is again, because I don't want to lose you in the conversation.
Yeah, Penis Head from
all right,
from
the Dickhead.
Yeah, the Dickhead.
All right.
Your thoughts lie on your mother. I'm like, okay, he had a gray beard, albeit a stupid mustache, but he had a gray white mustache. Like, clearly, this is an old Jedi Master who made it to the Council. So now, hey, he's literally, and it was cameo. Just like Yoda at the end, cameo. It was all new Jedi that you were seeing. You know, Soul, which I actually brought up Mike's comment in our writer's room chat, is the best character was Soul. And he thought it was wasted. And the build-up to the connection between the Dark Apprentice and the Master of the Jedi Order proper took too long, which it did. Like, so you know this fallen Jedi. You're like, wait. Someone is fallen? Like, yeah, your apprentice.
What I thought it was like the first Sith at first when they was going through the series, because it took them a little while to realize what they were dealing with, and that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me unless they had never seen it before,
Hmm.
right? But if they're familiar with the Sith, then they could have, like they should have picked up on what they was dealing with to begin with, or suspected that, you know. I don't know if we ever seen anybody, but we have seen people that's not Sith or Jedi trained in the Force kill Jedi's before, right? That's like the whole lore of the Mandalorians, right? They could
Yeah.
bang with Jedi's and anybody else.
Yeah, they were the Jedi, especially because you had the Jedi Mandalorian War, which goes back to Extended Universe, which was talked about in Knights of the Old Republic 2, because your main
Hmm.
character was exiled for going to fight in the wars.
Right.
Had the Jedi, survive Order 66 and they
Hmm.
quashed that, like, yeah, they probably would have did the same thing. Like, guys, you're exiled. Get out. Sever your connection
Hmm.
from the Force. Leave. But they already
And then
fell from grace.
then you had my favorite bounty hunter, Bane, from the blue guy with the
Cad
cowboy hat.
Bane,
Talk real
yes.
smooth, like you smoke a pack of Marlboros in a half an hour.
Oh yeah, and he's got the tubes
The
going in his
ventilation
neck.
thing, yeah,
It
that's
was.
my guy. But he can handle Jedi's. You had General Grievous
Mhm.
had a whole collection of lightsabers
Oh
that
yeah,
he used. He had more lightsabers than he had arms,
oh yeah.
trophies. So don't don't
Look at my
don't sit up here and
trophies.
pretend like it's so obscene that this girl is going around off in Jedi,
Yeah,
because it's not. And they also had the like Night Sister lore. The
they did. They did try to say that it wasn't like directly Night Sisters, but they were like witches. So is
Yeah.
Coven is
So it's still
husband and
so even
lesbian
if they
witches.
wasn't,
I'm
because Night
fine.
Sisters are that whatever race of alien that Aside Ventress was, right?
Yes.
The bald head, white haired
Mm,
apprentice for Dooku.
yeah.
So so they had her, like, okay, it wasn't the Night Sisters, but it's already established that they have those, like, that mysticism inside of
Oh yeah, and
the
they call
thing
themselves
beside that
witches.
stands besides the Force, right?
Hmm.
So you got a character that has Force sensitivity and magic and combat skills, and y'all don't want to see where that goes.
Yeah.
Why don't you want to see where that goes? You want to see Star Killer, right, from the video
Oh
games
yeah, that's
popped
what they
into
want.
a TV show, right?
Oh yeah,
Which is cool. I mean, I seen a cool
I
ass
love it.
fan thing, I think it was, or it might have been for a video game where they had these two brothers,
Yeah,
one wore white and one wore black. Did you see that?
that
That'll make
was
a cool
great.
show. That'd be nice to see that expand, but I don't see how it'd be different than what you're getting out of the Acolyte. It's all in the same spirit of that,
Hmm.
you know.
Oh,
Like you
100%.
had a decent story, you had an intriguing plot, and you had some dope ass fight scenes. That Sith, the little Asian dude, whatever his name was on the show. I'm bad with remembering character names, but
Oh yeah. I forget his name. The stranger, the one with the helmet.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what, forget what. No, it wasn't Beskar that he was wearing, right? He had
No,
something that
it
disrupted
was.
lightsabers specifically.
Yes, and it was. They called it starts with a C. The material, right? So,
Hmm.
this is to block. It blocks lightsabers. There were,
Yeah.
even if you look in the extended lore, there were vibroblades that could deflect a lightsaber. So,
Hmm.
even if you're just fitting it in for a game, this already exists. That's one of the things that
Right.
Filoni's doing. He's looking at all the expanded universe and cherry picking what he wants to bring in, which is great
Yeah.
because that's how you get the fans being like, "Oh, the little shuttle with the stormtrooper shuttle. Oh my god!" And all those things that shuttle was just a toy in like in the 80s. It wasn't anything
Yeah.
like it wasn't anything big, but just like
Yeah, but you
Mando's
paying
gun.
homage to that. See, people can't be sad. I don't know. Maybe I'm just an easy date, man, because it don't take a whole lot to please me. And maybe it's because I'm not. It's some people that really are scholars of what they're fans of. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And they're very passionate. They read everything. They write the wikis.
Yeah.
They have Reddits dedicated to this stuff, all kinds of stuff. So I can get why somebody would have something to say that goes against this established thing that you've been studying for years and years and years. But at the same time, at the end of the day, man, this is entertainment. You know, we're not talking about history now.
Yeah.
I'm a comic book creator myself. Like, I'm making my own stories and you making your own stories. So we would want to see it, you know, as we have control of it, be true as possible to what we created, right? But at some point, eventually, and even in the beginning, when you switching over to different titles or whatever, like from a comic book to a show, obviously things are going to have to change to make, you know, because everything in a comic book don't work well in a cartoon. Everything in a cartoon don't work well on a movie or a TV show or whatever. So some things is going to have to change. But at the end of the day, as long as you're not making any like egregious changes to where now, you know, Jedis use Bokens instead of lightsabers. Now they use wooden swords for like for why, right? Or
that doesn't make
you know,
sense.
like you can just switch back and forth between. Well, it is people that switch back and forth between the light and the dark side. That's happened before, right?
Yeah.
With
the thing they haven't touched on was Gray Jedi. The Gray Jedi. The guys, they're dicks, but you know they'll save somebody if it's in line with their thing.
I'm still waiting for them to come up to address that concept, because then that's going to turn even more stuff on his head, because they got, matter of fact, fucking Ahsoka left the Jedi Order because she had issues with the way that they were doing things.
Well, it was also the being charged for murder thing. You know, I'd probably want to leave too. Hey,
no,
great news! You're a master now. No, I'm leaving. Fuck you guys. That was the most baller ass move Ahsoka ever did, and then she stayed in that gray path. White lightsabers.
Yeah, but
kept going.
So she said she saw some hypocrisy inside of them that she couldn't. Hold on, wait. What murder was she accused of?
It was the one that was set up by Barriss, the alien that looks like the green Jedi Master in Acolyte. It was she ended up setting her up, and then that
man. I love that series, man.
I go back and rewatch it all the time.
I love that.
It was so fantastic.
Man. And it ended so well, man. They gave Ahsoka some nice shine when they brought it back into that last moments with Darth Maul and everything and everything that was going on in her sequence on aside with Anakin's. But you gotta get more characters, man. Everything can't like that. That might be the most interesting thing in Star Wars to me. Ahsoka's relationship with Anakin, and how, you know, like every time I see that on screen, I fall in love all over again. That's the most interesting thing to me that I've seen, and you know, in the fandom. I've always liked the cartoons more than the movies because you get better action. It's more exciting to watch.
More character development.
I had to sit down, like a friend had to sit me down and really explain how much of an opera it is for me to really appreciate the you know, like the movies and everything.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's really good and it's really well thought out. But again, like I said, you promised me samurai space wizards. I want to see some samurai space wizardry on the big screen when I go to watch it, right?
I think the coolest part of the Acolyte series was, I think it may have even been the last episode, to where May is holding the lightsaber and the crystal turns red from her blood. That was in extended lore on, that's why Palpatine with the Inquisitors had to use synthetic kyber crystals, also because he was using kyber crystals for his, 2 moon death machines. So it explained, like, no, it changed and that is how I thought it ended so beautifully with the sister you didn't think was going to do it.
Right.
No, it was Osha. Osha was turned
the one you didn't expect, right?
You're like, oh, she's been such a great character, and then you're like, oh, this is brilliant. This is brilliant.
Because it's a crazy situation, right? The Jedi's dropped the ball. They wanted to do the right thing, but they ended up doing something, you
They
know,
ended up
and now
slaughtering
it's
your
like,
people.
and now because they inside of this war and they're dealing with these people that they really ain't got no business dealing with, and you know, like you governed by all of these rules and everything. Now you covering things up and calling people, you know, like ruining reputations and everything like that for the greater good, which is what they do a lot, which is what they did the whole series, right?
Oh yeah.
The whole issue started over some greater good stuff. I know better for them than
Mhm.
them. You don't know shit about these people. You just decide we got to get these kids out of here for what?
And
And
how
you know,
how
because
Carrie Ann Moss's
they got it in
character,
their head that they're the moral authority of the universe.
she was such a hard ass. But Carrie Ann Moss's character just so cold, you know, like, hey, you know, we are legally allowed to test people with metachlorians. And if they want to come, they can come. And she was like,
Mm-hmm.
well, they don't want to take it. And then OSHA's like, Mom, I want to be a Jedi.
Yeah.
And it's just, you know, and then they're the same person that was split. Like, whoa, there is
Yeah,
so much
that
to
was another
unpack with
thing.
them.
That was another thing that people was upset about. That it wasn't Anakin wasn't the first anymore
Mhm.
for that to have happened to.
But
First,
that,
it was
they explained it.
these women getting you know themselves pregnant. That's crazy. Like what kind of Star Wars bullshit is this?
Mhm.
But you got Anakin did the same thing with him, right? And
And they kept it
it's
separate
just
because it was the main mom, the main witch. She made them, and she was very
mm,
proud of it. Even saying to her partner, "Yeah, and I made them," because her partner
hope
carried them.
the alien looking one carried him, but the black one made him, right?
Mm-hmm. And that's how. Yeah,
Yeah.
no. This has nothing to do with Anakin. This is a bunch of witches that made life because they can't have children, and they're trying to
Mm-hmm.
save their coven. So they're trying to preserve their way of life in Walk the Jedi because they were already kind of suspicious. Like, hey, heard there's some kids around here. No, you heard wrong.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So there was some, yeah, it came into some static and things spun out of control. But I think they did such a great job with that series, and they did such a great job with the use of the Force in there to me. Like they made
Mm-hmm.
it really exciting to see the Force in combat, more than just a guy doing a crazy high jump and flip.
Yeah.
That's all we've seen before. Or like we'll
Yeah.
get a scene of somebody dashing off
Mm-hmm.
into the distance or grabbing something
Ding-a-ling.
and just holding it there.
Mm-hmm.
But you ain't never seen nobody like they was getting busy with the Force inside of
Oh
the
my God,
acolyte,
yeah.
man. Why would you not want that? You telling them that you throwing the baby out with the bathwater when you're getting rid of the acolyte. It's too much good inside of that series for you to just toss it all away. It don't make sense, man.
Because knowing that Plagueis trains Palpatine, seeing the stranger and OSHA there together, obviously in love, it fits right along the lines of what Palpatine did with Maul. He
Mm-hmm.
had Maul, and he's like, no, he's just my assassin. He's just an assassin for us. And then
Mm-hmm.
Palpatine kills him in his sleep. Now I'm the
Mm-hmm.
master of wielding all the Force, the rule of two. And it's that
Mm-hmm.
person's job, like it is the stranger's job, to get your own apprentice and kill your master.
Who formed Anakin? Somebody was responsible for that, right?
There was a comic that implied Palpatine did it, but
So that makes so this makes more sense now, right? So if Palpatine did it, you know, supposedly, right? That's our best guess. What you telling me?
it was
And
later
his master,
dismissed from the people who wrote the comic. Like, this is like a fever dream. He's just trying to mess with Anakin to keep him, you know, under his thumb. To where I accept either. Like, you know, if he is the chosen one, he didn't do a very good job when he was alive. Besides, yeah, level playing field. There were a lot of Jedi, not a lot of Sith. Guess what balance meant?
mm,
Get rid of one. Hey, we're leveled out now. Because even if you look at,
so
you know, the by Rey of everyone else being dead, there's still a long gap there. So you could have a lot of Jedi swearing it off, exiling themselves like Obi-Wan did, even just walking their own path like Ahsoka, or even Cal Kestis from the more recent games. There's a lot you can do with it. I think fans are a lot more open to the changes when it involves a video game.
Yeah.
Oh, this is just a video game. This isn't affecting
Right.
my beliefs in Star Wars.
Yeah, but that MMO, they live by that. You know,
The Old
that's
Republic
solidified
MMO
in the
was,
Star Wars fandom. The
I
what
love
is
it.
it? The Knights of the Old Republic or something like that.
Knights of the Old Republic, but then the MMO was the Old Republic, and it's still up.
Okay.
It's still up over 10 years. Probably like
Yeah, that's
close to like
solidified.
13 now. And it's still up. They're
So
still adding content to it.
so what I'm seeing online from just a cursory Google search was the speculations is either Palpatine or Plagueis. That's what the fan theories is that I'm seeing.
Right.
So if that's the case, right, and you saying Plagueis was inside of was an acolyte?
Yeah, at the very end, the creature that was
And the-
creeping out of the cave, that's the banking clan. And I looked it up
Okay.
because my backstory I wrote for Frank, the altered character in his book versus the unaltered, I was like, well, he looks like the banking clan.
So it looks like to me, right, you got this entity that was born from the Force and split into two souls using sorcery comes to the attention of Plagueis, who then tries to and successfully figures out a way to recreate that process using the Force, and that's how you get the chosen one of the Force, right?
Well, yeah, because it makes sense because of what he was researching. He was trying to be immortal. Because once again, in the extended universe that this is, as right now, because this is canceled, in the extended universe, there was a Dark Lord of the Sith that lived forever. He lived for a long ass time, and he consumed all of the living force on the planet, and that sustained his life.
Yeah.
In the book, when they go down on the planet, Jedi, he didn't even feel good. Like I don't feel anything. Like, you feel a dark side presence, you feel light side presence. Like, no, it's just gone. He took it all. So that's the kind of research he was going into. And even Sidious, they want to live forever. They want to use their power. And by that point, Sidious wasn't a scholar Sith like Plagueis. He was a sorcerer. And through that, Plagueis or Sidious can't do what Plagueis did.
Sidious did it with clones, right? That's
Exactly.
what he tried to do.
That's where he went to the clones, Clone War, all that, because he's like, I'm going to live forever somehow. We're going to make this work.
So he was just transferring his consciousness into the next clone, right? When he was supposed to have died.
And I wasn't even mad at them having Sidious in the sequel trilogy, because why else would he do all this stuff with cloning and the technology and then try to, get rid of the clones? Yeah, that actually worked out pretty good. My plan's working great. Empire, his own empire, galaxies under his thumb, and now I'm going to keep it that way. So it made sense.
Yeah, that I don't understand, man, why. It just makes even more sense now, like why it makes me even more upset. Why would they cancel the Acolyte if it ties as a before story? It ties a nice little bow so well, like it just clicks in to what you already have established. That like this is the event that was the inspiration that created Anakin Skywalker. That's what I'm picking up from it. And maybe we would have been able to explore that a little bit more later on, as well as continuing this dope ass story with all this intrigue and really getting to take a nice look at the Jedi Order.
Like, there was so much there for a second season because Osha and the Stranger are gonna die. We don't get to Palpatine until they die. How they die? Obviously, something went wrong here. He's obviously a little bit too emotional for a Sith. It's almost why, Palpatine didn't consider Dooku, like, you're just a placeholder. I'm waiting for this kid to grow up. I'm waiting to fuck his life up more so he comes to my side. You know, there was planning
That
there.
was crazy, man. That was a crazy, crazy war and situation. Palpatine is Lucifer, man. That boy
Oh
is,
God, yeah.
his schemes are just like next level. How do you fight an entire war across the galaxy and you're both sides of the war? You are both sides of this war.
And people still trust
And
politicians. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, he we just went for it. He had the Jedi dancing to his strings and all other kinds of stuff. And they couldn't even sense the dark side because they so the dark side that they was dealing with because they so wrapped up and off of their path. And you see it here, like this is like those first stumbles to how they end up so far off of the path by the time we get to that prequel thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then when we get to the original orders, like this is why there's no Jedi Order anymore because they made these mistakes. They weren't like this ultimate beacon of good. They were people that made mistakes and had to make decisions and they weren't always the right decision.
Yeah, and the
They
part
did
I
their
like about
best.
it is when the one mother of the twins, she's saying to the leader of the cult, and she goes, "I don't want my daughters to go being raised by delusional monks." And you're like, they are. That's exactly what they are. There's a bunch
They
of
kind of
delusional
are,
monks
right?
trying to
I
take
mean,
your
like
kid.
that's a valid argument right there,
It's
man.
like, you're not wrong. It really is a delusional cult of monks that, they think they know best. And no, we're going to be able to raise your child better than you will. You're going to lead him to the dark side. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
And to where
That's crazy, man.
they set up Soul as, oh, well, I was brought to the temple around your age. Oh yeah, you're around a whole bunch of kids. Because up until, I think it's, in the first or second episode, when she's telling them, talking to her sister, she goes, "There's no other kids." And you're like, "Oh shit, there aren't any."
Yeah, it's at the
And that's the first
the
little
stronghold that they were in, right?
yeah, that's the first little switch that goes off in your mind. Like, all right, that's not right. You got
Yeah.
why no kids? And then you find out, like, oh, because they buried the lead all the way to the end. Oh, you want to know how they did this? Okay. Yeah, you're two people. Okay. This is how they did it. And then you get that expansion in there, They brilliantly tied a whole bunch of people together without having to go play off of Yoda. They could have made this a Yoda story.
Right.
But my main thing was that as long as every single Jedi that saw that red lightsaber died, I was okay. Like, I loved Soul's character, but I'm like, you got to die. Like, even when I'm reading the extended universe in between that area, it's like, oh, okay. So, there's a Sith. You're going to die.
Mm-hmm.
It's the time period. Oh, you found out the secret? Yeah. There's no way
One
a
of us-
Jedi gets out of this
We ain't
situation.
away from that. One of us, two shall stand, one shall fall, or whatever.
It's that kind of thing of where if they did that, I would have been like, yeah, cancel that shit. That's not how it worked. You're changing the paradigm of the story to where at the time of the prequel trilogy, Yoda's like, they all knew. Like, Sith have been gone for generations. They are gone. Get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And, expansion on this is not a bad thing to where I still want them to go do the Dawn of the Jedi project. Show me the first Jedi.
Okay. Yeah. Show me the first Sith, man. Show me more of the mysticism aspect of the Force where you have those three guides that stand over the which they kind of teased in Ahsoka, where you have you got that big tanky knight looking not quite a Sith dude.
Yeah.
That was at the end he was standing on that statue.
Yes.
So that statue was the father, right?
The father, the son, and the daughter. And you saw the daughter was demolished.
The daughter represented the light side, right?
And the daughter, her statue at the end, I love that because it was demolished. It was gone. I think the son and the father were there, but it was like clearly, all right, this is this is old Jedi stuff in another galaxy, which
Mhm.
fits in with the lore. The Force users came to this galaxy and then populated, showing
Mhm.
the Sith, the actual alien race of the Sith from the Old Republic. Show me them. They were around.
Yep.
There's a lot of stuff they
It's
can do. I just don't want this to be I don't want it to be the way they go moving forward, because you got to ignore all the trolls online if you have a good story.
yeah. You got to, man. You got you got enough going on to continue watching it. I enjoyed it. I've seen people that every goddamn week that the show came on, they watched it to complain about it online. I don't know. That's some foreign shit to me. I don't know how you get past the third. If you hate it that much, why the hell is you watching all 8 or however many episodes of the show it is? I'd have stopped watching it and I'll move on.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't get it. That's weird to me, but I like how they've gone into like, okay, we're going to explore Mandalorians, we're going to explore regular citizens, we're going to explore this new rebellion that's forming, we're going to explore these bounty hunters. All that stuff is cool, right? But this one just here right now, even more than Ahsoka, in my opinion, when we exploring the Jedi's and the Sith, it got to be another level of activity going on, right? Why show me why these are the top notch elite of your universe that you have created,
Oh,
right?
100%.
Why do they have this reputation? And when he hit them with that, he turned the lightsaber on and off, going through the poking holes inside of the
Oh my
people when he's
God.
fighting them.
Daphne
He made a
King.
forest clearing with the forest,
Oh,
and they was using it, and they was using like the Chinese opera karate kind of moves a little
yeah.
bit. They had like they're throwing the darts around. There's a lot of stuff going on where he was like, it made me believe that I can see how this character May could kind of hang with a Jedi, but then without the trickery and everything, you see really no, she can't bang with the Jedi because it was almost lights out for her. And what was that, episode 1?
Yeah. Until she's like, ha, gotcha, bitch.
Yeah,
And it was a
yeah,
sneaky play. I liked her death. I liked it because, all right, then once you see what a cold-hearted fucking bitch she was in that whole situation. But one of my favorite parts of this whole series was the epic battles. The first one with the stranger and all those Jedi. How Soul gets up. There's a bunch of, it's like littered with all the corpses of the people who came with him. You're like, oh yeah, this is what I wanted. All you guys are dying. This is the Sith. We see awesome lightsaber battles in that. Lightsaber throw. We haven't seen it. We saw
yeah.
Luke bullet, but this and catching the saber. That was one of the
Yeah.
most badass things of that show.
You know what it is, man? They was taunting trolls too much. They said the one fight scene, they said this is going to be the best thing or better than uh Darth Maul's lightsaber duel when he pulled out the second lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, that was good, but it's not. It's not like the level of maybe I watch too many cartoons and animes and things like that. Because when I see people, I see people really box when I'm watching something, like
Mm-hmm.
so it take more than just like some very well choreographed doom 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 doom. Like that's cool and everything, but it's still like it's like they try to make their duels stiff on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Like just to keep up with the tradition of that first duel that you seen between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan all the way back in the original movies. It was very stiff, doom, doom,
Oh yeah.
doom, and now like they still do it, but it's still like a dance. It's still 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
The fan
No,
film that improved that fight scene between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader on the Death Star from the original movie, that was great because they were like, all right, this is modern Star Wars lightsaber choreography, and we're just going to improve this scene. And it was even better. They had a nice long battle, not like two old men.
I need to see some dynamic fights, man. You got the Force, use the Force. There should be people getting knocked up into a wall, clinging onto the side of it, and then dashing back down towards their opponent, catching it on the thing, flipping them over, grabbing with the Force, slam, slam. I need to see some shit going on, man.
I want you to, boom, slam them on the ground, man. You have, like, Force push and pull. Those are your two biggies.
Right. Like, I want to see lightning being used in a creative way, not just a no, but show me somebody that their technique uses the lightning infused into their lightsaber or something like that, right?
How'd you like the lightsaber
anything.
Whip? People had a problem with the lightsaber whip as well.
They definitely had a problem with the lightsaber whip. I mean, I didn't love the lightsaber whip, but we didn't really get to see it do nothing. So
yeah, besides kill that fly, but yeah, she didn't use it in battle.
And slice the fly up. Now in season 2, who knows, man? She could have been using that joint, wrap it around, flip it back, do all kinds of like. There's room to do cool shit, man. You at the end of the day, when it's time for it to get busy, you should want to see some really cool things happen on the screen. And I don't know why there's just something that separates me from another generation of Star Wars fans, I guess, or another type of fan, I guess. I like all that. I like all of the intrigue. I like all the politics and plots and everything, and how, like, you got to put your thinking cap on for certain things to really catch everything. And I'm pretty sure the YouTubers like that too, because they get them a chance to do a breakdown video and explain stuff like this, how this relates to this book from 15 years ago. Which, thanks for saving me the time, because now I get to, keep up with everything else going on. But you gotta have, in the mix of all that, some excitement,
Oh yeah.
And Acolyte did that. So
I think it did it did it for me as well as Andor did, because Andor gave you like, oh, you doing a show about Andor? By the end of it, I was like, this is the best Star Wars ever. Oh my god, I need another season. I felt the same way after this. I'm like, I need another season. This is so great.
Now, Andor was the one where the people that replaced the Empire, you start to see that everything might not be all, peaches and cream with them, right?
Andor was Diego Luna from Rogue One. So it was Empire, the Empire's moved in over the Republic, and, on program. That one tie-in of being able to say, all right, yeah, we have these, prison camps, and you're making us stuff. And then by the end of the series, you're like, oh my God, that's how they made the Death Star. They arrested you for no reason and then forced you to work the rest of your life, giving you hope. Hey, yeah, this is like 10,000 hours. I'm at 1 hour, man. And the guy dies, and you're like, ugh. The whole how they kept everything compartmentalized and structured to break you down and keep you doing what they want.
Now, what I'm thinking of, it might have been another. It might have been on The Mandalorian. Which was the one where they had somebody captured and they was using that was Mandalorian. They had captured somebody and they was using like that brain thing on them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's why I like to see stuff like that, man, because it's a big galaxy, it's a giant organization. You're not going to tell me that everybody in any group, right, is not everybody that's dark side sensitive is just a raging lunatic. And we've seen people that's kind of like on the, like, I use the dark side. I use my emotions, but I'm not like trying to kill every man, woman, and child on this planet just because of that, right? We've seen that before. Now we're seeing Jedi, like maybe just this one station of Jedi, you get fallen Jedi, right? So you can't get mad when somebody from the Jedi Order does not very Jedi things, because you've already accepted that there's fallen Jedi.
Even in
they
Clone Wars.
They fall because of the decisions that they make. Like that lady, the everybody calling the one with the green skin, everybody calling the Karen, the one that sold Soul out.
Yeah,
that was some fallen Jedi shit.
That
right?
was. That was some
So
fucked up shit, though. She just threw
we
his
always
ass on
see
her.
like we saw the ones on Ahsoka who was already like they just Baron whatever the fuck his name
Mm-hmm.
was, and his apprentice was just fallen Jedi. But how did they become fallen Jedi? It's because they had some decisions to make. They made some bad decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, they get disenfranchised. They feel like, you know what, I did the right thing, and y'all told me the same way, like you saying with Ahsoka. Only she ended up a gray Jedi, not like no kind of maliciousness or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But so it just like it breaks down the arguments. The more that we're talking about it, the less those arguments make sense. Other than just I'm just hating on it just because it's popular to hate on, which a lot of people
Or
do.
like you said, they have their own dilemma with the lesbian space witches, or the fact that Soul, the guy who played him, learned English for that role. He didn't even know English
Yeah,
before that. Like, all right,
and
you're
they
getting different people, different characters. It's that whole thing of when somebody tried to accuse George Lucas of the original Star Wars trilogy of, just being nothing but white men. He's like, 90% of the cast, they're aliens. Like, there's,
mm,
who fucking cares who's behind the mask? The guy's
yeah,
wearing an
and
alien. He's an
they've been
alien.
up ever since then. They've been beefing ever since then. So now everybody's so primed now
Mm-hmm.
to to just throw it back inside of the people that make those kind of critiques face. Like it's really it's some crazy race war stuff going on inside of this outside of the main Star Wars community. Because if this was just really down to the people that really just like Star Wars, one, you wouldn't have thousands of trolls online,
Mm-hmm.
saying those things. And I'm just speaking on behalf of the people that I do know that actually didn't like the series and gave like points of why they didn't like the series. Those are not the people that's going to go on there and then say something crazy like, like go woke, go broke, and then just leave it at that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you just talking shit. You don't really care either way, so just be quiet.
Mm-hmm. They're
Right?
just looking to stoke the flames. They're looking
Yeah,
to get that anger
yeah,
and
they just
excitement.
yeah. But I mean, like I said, man, I get it because I can name 3 people off the top of my head right now that legitimately just didn't like the series, and they leave it at that. But it ain't no, But I don't see no veiled racism or just like talking about stuff that just ultimately does not matter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a coven of witches, and they've managed to have a baby. Let's see where it goes. Like, what's going
Yeah.
on with that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Oh yeah. Let
Okay,
them
this
tell the
guy
story.
had to learn English to play this scene. Who cares?
Yeah.
Okay, this character is a black woman and she's the main focus of the series. All right, it's a gigantic goddamn galaxy. Man, this is just one story among many. So
You got
who
people who are
cares?
green in the show. They're
Right?
green.
Yeah.
Like it's
So
about acceptance and change. You know what I mean? And the people who actually start going in there and microanalyzing, well, this is that, this is that. Remember, Star Wars is for 12-year-olds. It's for kids. Or your inner 12-year-old, like me.
right.
It's not for, I'm not looking at this and about to write a dissertation paper.
Yeah, that's the space that I live in where I approach entertainment, man. And ultimately this is for fun. These are the court jesters, what I mean, of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
The people that come in to break up the monotony, give us a good time, and then we go back about our business that like that matters to us.
Yeah.
So I mean,
It's about the
I don't get
escapism.
it.
That's
I'm disappointed. I know I wish we had a counterbalance because like I said, there are some really good arguments to why people didn't like the series, and those come from the people that have been, I think, really like invested in the Star Wars universe.
mm-hmm.
But for me as a casual, which you guys who are invested in the universe need for this thing to continue, I loved it, man. So like treat me like the little, like how I take my kids and I put them on the things that I used to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Treat me like that kid because I'm a kid to the Star Wars thing. And it's all, when I look at the screen, I'm just amazed. And you should, if you don't like it, you should still be able to look at me
Yeah.
as the new fan and say, like, that's what's up, man. At least, they get to experience something that brought me so much joy,
Exactly. And like you're saying, the original trilogy, it was more theatrical, but the same thing could be said for the original Star Trek. and even the Next Generation. You know, it was a different kind of, you know, even from Star Trek to the Next Generation. Next Generation is leaps and bounds ahead of Star Trek, the original, but that's because looking at it from now, it's that old-timey way that they did things, you know?
Cinema, yeah.
It was more
their approach to
theatrical
cinema.
as opposed to where we are now is people want a lot more dynamic stories. They don't want it to seem like they're going to see a play, a Broadway play, you know? That was the early stuff. And even some of, you know, the original trilogy, you can see it like that. As well, you know, even the acting isn't the same now as it was then.
Yeah. But you can still do that though. You know what I'm saying? Like you can do both because now you've expanded these stories so much to now you talking about you got a story for the shopkeeper down the street, the guy that, you know, like the guy that runs the bar gets his own story. And that could be, you know, that could be one thing because this is somebody else that's inside of this universe that has to deal with the consequences of the decisions that other people make.
You know?
You know what I mean? So like you have room to make like really character driven, plot heavy, deep themed stories inside of the Star Wars universe alongside all of the, you know, like the less mature fun that you also have available that everybody can be happy. But you can't do that if every time it's not something exactly what you came for, you shut it down, then you end up with, okay, well, we're just going to make a few movies every 20 years and that's going to be all you get.
Yeah.
Right?
To where, look, you can do that. You could do a story about a guy who owns a bar, or you could even just take it down to, all right, if you want to do a story that's mainly focusing on a villain, like this one and their story, why not a barkeeper who had his child taken away from the Jedi, and now he feels a kind of way against them? That adds its own inner struggle into that. You're not giving them the Skywalker family story again, because it seems for so long, unless it's that in that time corral, everyone is not going to accept it.
Man, they might as well hire us, man. So now this guy, he gets his family taken away by the Jedi, and you know, like it has the seed of resentment. And from outside of that bar, he finds more like-minded people, and maybe he gets a pilot along the way. And the next thing you know, they're doing bandit runs, and it just grows out of control into something that he didn't even expect it to be. And now they have a force of basically orphaned parents, right? Or whatever the word is for the parents that lose their child, right?
Oh yeah, you can
and then you could have the conflict end with the children that were taken to become Jedis now have to confront their own parents,
and they wouldn't know because they got taken well before they would have actually remembered who.
That's hot. That's fire. Now I'm like, what does that do to a Jedi now that finds out that they just killed or detained or whatever their own parent whose whole quest was feeling wrong that they were taken from them.
Oh man.
Right? So what is that? So now we get to explore that. You know what I'm saying? But you can't do that stuff if you only want the Jedi to be seen as right all the time, no matter what. Jedi is just right in everything they do and every decision they make because they're the light side. And you have the good side of the Force and you have the bad side of the Force. Okay, you got the good side of the Force, but you have fallible people using that Force. And maybe, you know, like the more bad decisions they make, the less the light side of the Force empowers them. You know, maybe, and then, you know, like that's how you end up with a fallen Jedi. That they replace that ebb and flow. You know, like the light side goes out, the dark side seeps in, and back and forth, or however that goes. We could do it. We could do it a million ways, man. But you gotta allow that to happen.
You can make it a feel-good part of one of the Jedi children realizing what he has done. That is his descent, and that's how he becomes a gray Jedi. You know, and there's so much you can do with that. Even twins being separated. I'm sorry, or you know, siblings. You know, if we would have came here earlier, we would have taken them both, but you're too old. Bye. Say bye to your
Yeah.
brother. Bye-bye.
If we would have known about you earlier, we would have taken you. We would have taken you sooner. But you too old to even test, so we're not even going to bother with you.
Just like
But you
Qui-Gon. He's like, if he was in
now
the
you
core
got
worlds.
you got this poor family, and you know how many times, you know how well understood that story is of an older sibling being a parent figure for a younger sibling. So let's just say that their parents is just some like sand farmers or whatever from
Yeah.
Tatooine or some shit,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, you can
You
even make a
know,
different
womp
sand
rat.
planet. We don't have to go back to that Blackwater ass fucking world again.
Yeah, we
It's
just
like the only
eating
place
womp
they want to
rats
go.
and everything like that,
Yeah.
right? So, you know, like, hey, you're gonna give me 5 wooden chits and copper shillings for this kid? That's one less mouth to feed. Go ahead, Jedi, take them. You know,
Bye.
thanks. Now you got the older sibling that's like, no, I didn't. You know, like that's wrong. That's like,
Yeah, my mom
and I'm
just
left
let me
here
go.
with you two, like deadbeats, and he's off living this dream. And like, you know, like there's a lot that you could do, man.
Core
And I get
worlds.
excited thinking
3
about it.
square meals a day. You know, having the best life. The other one's a moisture farmer living hand to mouth.
Right.
Because you
I
can,
try to squeeze. I try to squeeze a drop of water out of a handful of sand every day. That's my job.
parents after getting taken, they get taken out by sand people
Hmm.
in a normal
Yeah.
raid. Now that kid's an orphan. The Jedi
Right.
took
So,
all of this from me.
right. So this is the situation. Even like there's just too much going on. It's too many angles, man. It's too many perspectives for you to just say that everything that the Jedi do is just right, 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 right. And it's got to be somebody has to feel some type of way about the things that they do, right? Which makes them wrong because you've now wronged this character or this parent or this sibling or this whatever. So, and I think that in spirit, that's the kind of thing that we saw with the Acolyte. And even though I'm disappointed that they canceled it, man, I hope that they try again to make these more nuanced stories, because if we just two guys sitting here can come up with what I think is just an absolute banger
Oh
of
my
an
God, yeah.
idea,
That's such a
then
great idea. Oh,
yeah. You know, so listen, Disney executives, Lucasfilm and everything like that, you
Call me, I'm
know.
free. I'm
Hit
wide
up, you
open.
know, Perjangers and Wallhangers, you hit us up and
Mhm.
shoot us an inbox or something, and we can write you some fantastic stories
Oh my
that you're
God,
gonna
yeah.
love.
Dude, especially because remember it was all right. We're doing the Acolyte, and then we have Dawn of the Jedi, High Republic, Rey's saga, a whole trilogy of her own making a new Jedi Order. Fine, go with
Mhm.
Rey. She's making a better Jedi Order. You know, Yoda already
Mhm.
said to Luke, she already knows that stuff. Fuck those books. Bam.
Man, if we're gonna talk about them, the only two negatives that I had, I didn't like how they did my man Finn,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't like how they did Luke inside of there.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
no.
they did him filthy, man. When they had even how he died, like you died because you FaceTime somebody too hard, and that was the end of you. Now, now if he would have, you know, because he appeared right before that battery ram laser thing, right?
Yeah,
So if they would have shot that and he used the force through his projection to deflect that giant beam, the
yeah.
same way we had seen
That would have.
Kylo
Yeah.
stop the laser,
Mm-hmm.
we seen him do that, and that's what overwhelmed him using that. Then all right, bet, because this is Luke Skywalker that we talking about. You got him drinking purple titty milk
Yeah.
and you know
Yeah, the green
swinging
milk, and
from
you're like,
rocks, and
man.
I'm just a crazy old
Just a
man.
crazy hermit. Here's your lightsaber. I don't need that.
Mm-hmm.
But also, what was I going to say? Oh, the other part I really liked about the Acolyte was because they always try to expand. All right. I thought, the whip was cool. Even the strangers pull out the bottom lightsabers. Awesome. But the thing I really loved was how they were able to stop the lightsaber with just using the Force.
Mm-hmm.
Showing, oh, well, the Force surrounds me, it guides me, it protects me. And also being able to say, no, you're not hitting me with that. You think I needed the lightsaber? Look at Ezra and Ahsoka. Jedi doesn't need a lightsaber.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you seen Darth Vader do that
Yup.
inside of the Obi-Wan series when he was fighting the Inquisitor or whatever she was, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
And that's another character that they shit on, another series that they overwhelmingly trashed. But
yeah,
again, see now that story right there is so closely ingrained to the story surrounding like the most important story of Star Wars, that I can get why somebody who is like a scholar of Star Wars
mm-hmm.
would pick that apart if they're not airtight, because you're dealing with Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're dealing with Anakin Skywalker slash Darth
Mm-hmm.
Vader, and like you're dealing with some really important things that's concretely solid.
Yeah.
Him meeting Leia,
Mm-hmm.
beforehand, and all of that stuff, like that's going to matter. I get that, right? But it's still, I mean, like, there was still some cool moments inside of there too, man. We had some really cool moments in there.
There was a lot, especially Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. His whole thing with kidnapping the little girl. I was like,
He was in there.
yeah, he was.
I didn't even know, man.
Oh yeah, man,
that's dope.
I love it because it's like, oh, I know you. That is great.
Yeah.
The recent stories that we're talking about, Andor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Mando, even the Acolyte, they all had that same kind of feel of, this is new, it's interesting, and I don't care if it really messes too much in the muddling about in the back history. Make it a good story. And yeah, have something new. And that's the thing with Star Wars. Lucas always tried to have a new lightsaber, a new force, something new in there that is drawing people in. Like even sequel trilogy, how Rey in the vision she had the flip down dual wield lightsaber.
Okay.
Pop that up, flip back, and that was new technology, new lightsaber, stuff you haven't seen before.
See,
like the whip.
but we gonna have to expand them horizons, man, because it ain't no. How much longer are we going to get excited by this lightsaber is teal?
Yeah.
This lightsaber is rose gold. Like like this lightsaber has a beam that shoots out of here. They got to keep it interesting, right?
Yeah,
either that or just do like a anniversary remaster release.
Mm-hmm.
And keep it simple like that.
Because you also had and it goes right in with what you're saying is some people just want to take those original reels and put them in a box. Can't tell you how many times I hear people say, I see something online or hear people saying what they need to do is re-release of the original stuff. Lucas going back and adding in the visual effects, he couldn't because of technology in the past. I get it. You guys didn't like the little furry singing chick. Get over it. We had so much other great stuff to where it was like the stormtroopers searching for stuff. The dewbacks, it was like a cardboard cutout originally. Just something in the background. Having them walking around improved the scene. You know what I mean? Seeing something like this as sacred is the problem, because that's where the fans are like, no, the ancient texts, what are you doing?
Right.
In that moment, what are you doing?
You can't change the scriptures, man. What are you doing?
And it's just like, yeah, well, guess what, gang? It's the Force, an ever-flowing, ever-evolving entity. And Lucas said, I forget, and it was at least one interview, he was like, yeah, but nobody really understands the Force like I do. Like, I get it, George, you created it. But just keeping his word as like Bible is silly. We're talking once again about fictional aliens in space, not the real ones. I'm sure those guys don't have the Force, otherwise we'd be fucked.
Where's Lucas at in all of this now? Where's George Lucas at in all of this stuff that's been happening and going on? He's been boxed out completely, or what?
Watching on the sidelines, dude. He sold it. So yeah,
they don't keep him around as a advisor or anything.
They like bring him. They'll have him stop by, like when Favreau and Filoni were doing The Mandalorian. He came on set, and Mando's gun with the shocker. He was, it was Jon Favreau. He was just like, yeah, we pulled this from the holiday special with Boba Fett, a Christmas holiday cartoon, and that's where we got the Mandalorian gun. And he's just like, yeah, but that wasn't canon. That was, it was just a kid's special. But now it is. Like I said, with the Stormtrooper shuttle, There's so many things to where if you can do it properly, people will eventually get over it. You know, to where I think if once the storm settles down, I wouldn't be surprised if later on they're like, you know what, we will do a second season. You know, because they quickly canceled. Originally, they were talking like, yeah, maybe we will do an Obi-Wan season 2. We may do a second season of Kenobi. We could do that. And then it was like, nope, that was it.
Yeah. Now, Obi-Wan, I don't know how far. See, I don't know how much you can tell in that
and be interesting
short amount of time between events with Obi-Wan, right? Because it wasn't like, that much time.
Well, it was 18 years.
Can't have him interacting with people that he interacts with again in the original trilogy,
right?
You know what I mean?
But that makes sense. Why? Even the Leia thing, it made sense because he was Ben. She didn't know him as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Right.
So that's where that Leia link up fit because, that was Ben. He already had the name.
So what was when they meet up against because in the originals it was Help Me Obi-Wan Kenobi, right?
You fought with my father in the Clone Wars, and she's thinking Bail Organa.
Oh, she's just talking to somebody that she don't know inside of those things, right?
You were my dad's friend. You're the only person that can help. Because probably hearing from Bail, look, I know a Jedi. His name's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Seek his help. And then Alderaan blows up, and she's like, "Oh my God, my dad!" And it's like, "No, your dad's over there, actually." But that's the thing of you can't and a lot of fans they had that problem with Leia. No fucking problem. I mean, besides little girl, I mean, she's kind of annoying in the beginning, but that's kids for you. Annoying, all right. Sometimes they can be. But
they grow on you, right?
We got so much more out of even just the Acolyte than we had with any of those other series because this is in a not too far in the past to where it's only 100 years. There are aliens that are still alive, from that beginning of this to the beginning of Phantom Menace. There's still going to be people who are alive, just like Yoda. Oh, what'd you do? Yeah, Master Saul. That's a problem. I would love for Yoda to actually see through her veil and be like, that's not what happened.
No.
Yeah. And there is a lot you can do with Acolyte as opposed to like you're saying, Kenobi. How interesting can you make it waiting for a kid to come ask you to train him as a Jedi when you're in a desert being a hermit?
Right.
Today I fixed my moisture evaporator, and I can now drink water again.
How many times is he going to leave and come back to the desert, right? Because he was hiding out in the desert when they at the beginning of Kenobi, right? Yeah. He already
had the house.
Entered his hermit phase.
Yeah, house, job, completely beaten and beaten down, and I'm watching the kid.
And now he went from that to going on this grand adventure and then back to being a hermit to then to being old Ben, right?
Yeah. All right, I'm just going to be old Ben again. Right. That's where, all right, I do stand by them. Like, yes, you don't have to do a second season. You can just release this as, hey, this is its own story, beginning to end. We're happy with it. We just wanted to expand this out a little bit here.
Now, what I will say, I'll be deeply interested in seeing Darth Vader get fleshed out in live action more. I want to see him, show me why he is the terror of the galaxy that he is.
We got a little bit of that in Rogue One with the hallways.
Yeah, when you see him burn through that hallway, man. You seen it inside of you saw it inside of Obi-Wan too, where he was handling that lightsaber like, man,
oh yeah,
I ain't gonna use man, take this shit back. Come on, try again.
Yeah. But just like we're saying with the Force powers, that moment between Vader and Obi-Wan where he has all those rocks, I'm like, that is why they said next to Anakin and Master Yoda, you're one of the most powerful Jedi. Because I'm throwing a mountain at you. Okay? Let me just break this up in the Force and crush you.
Yeah. I want to see it more, man. I want to see more, and they got it in them there's the Clone Wars. You remember the cartoon Clone Wars series, right? Before that, the 3D animated series.
Tatoyosky, the guy who did
That is some of the best
Oh,
action sequences that I've. As a matter of fact, that's where General Grievous got
yeah,
his chest crushed inside of that series, right?
yeah.
And they was in the middle of fighting. He tried to run. He reached out with the force and crushed his fucking respirator system.
Yes,
That was hot, man.
it
You
was
know,
so good.
like show me some more of those moments, man. They're combat casters,
Yeah.
but they don't let them do combat casting stuff when it comes to live action. And
Mhm.
we got a glimpse of it in the Acolyte, right? But
Yeah.
have you ever played The Witcher?
Yes.
So they got like grand just straight up mages in The Witcher,
Mm.
and then the Witchers use combat casting where they fight, and then like they have these short little small um hand sign spells, Igni, and like like a
Yeah.
little fireball to come out. That's what I want to see more of inside of the act. Like it don't have to be like a whole Starfleet getting shot to hell by the
Mm.
lightning. Just throw a little shocking grass palm touch or something like that on somebody's chest in the middle of a fight. It's short and it's skillful and it's effective. Just
When
show
they're
me some more of that
trying
stuff.
to flee and Vader stops the shuttle. He's like, where you
Yeah, and bring
Yeah.
that thing back down.
You ain't going nowhere. That was
Right.
kind of like Star Killer, and where he's pulling a Star Destroyer from space.
Yeah. What's her name did something like that too, right? Ahsoka and the end of the Clone Wars series, the animated one.
Yes.
I remember a scene where she was trying to pull it. I don't know if she successfully did
She
it,
was
but she
trying,
was
but she-
reaching out for it.
yeah,
She stalled it
do
at
it.
least. I remember that much.
You had
Such
that kind of
so
power.
well done, man.
That's where we're
They
saying
gotta get
the cartoons are
they
better.
gotta get better with it, man. They got the lightsaber duels and fight sequences and the Acolyte was some of my favorite inside of Star Wars. I don't know how anybody else feel about it, but for me personally, they were some of the
Mhm.
most exciting fights in Star Wars. They did a good job on some of them, and Ahsoka's live action series as well.
The one thing I will say is if they did a Vader series where it's just Vader trying to plot to overthrow Palpatine, you can even leave it there. I want to see a specific page from the comics happen to where
When you say, "Oh, I'm surrounded by his
dead men.
dead men,"
Oh, that's the hardest fucking burn ever. Lord Vader, give up, you're surrounded. The only thing I'm surrounded by is dead men. Bzzz. Oh, I want to see that. Give me
then
that.
show me that fight scene. Show me. That's what I'm saying, man. Like I watch. Like if you ever watched Naruto, which you probably did. Well, maybe you did. Do you
I
remember
went
when
through
Madara
Shippuden.
went up against the whole entire Shinobi Alliance?
Hmm?
Imagine if that was Darth Vader going up against that group. You know what I'm saying? Where you just see him decimate like 200 soldiers, and not just a little. He dashes towards the camera, and then the next scene, everybody's on the ground. He's putting the lightsaber away. No, show me him punch somebody in the face. Show me him grab this guy, throw him in front of this blaster fire, and
Disney,
then
here's your next idea from us, okay? It's a Vader series. There's a small little coven of Jedi who are outskirts of the galaxy. They think they're safe. Oh my God, we're all together. And Vader decimating. One or two get away, and that's where, you have a deeper chase of the main antagonist and the protagonist. Hey, he slaughtered my whole little coven. We were fine on the edge of the galaxy until they found us. And you can have that almost, Naruto style, where they already started training other younglings and started going forward. And then Vader comes in. You think we didn't feel you? Come on over here.
right. I want to see Vader pop up, and then like people just start sweating. Like, I want to see people blood run cold when they see him because he's such a powerful presence on the scene. And I want to see him prove why. I mean, like I said, we saw a little bit inside of that hallway. We saw a little bit, and when he was handling what's the name, we saw Obi-Wan ain't no slouch because he was banging with Vader, but we never really got to see Vader we never seen him pressed,
Mhm.
like have a hard fought victory. on the big screen that I know of. And we've never seen him really just go off and show why he's infamous across the galaxy. You hear about Vader, like, man, we got a fleet on site order. When Darth Vader come, he can have whatever he wants. We're leaving.
Yeah. Get your shit. We're leaving. Why? Vader. All right, I'm done. I'm ready. I don't need any of this. Let's go. You know how badass he is. You got to really sell that, because you're right. He was like almost like that Michael Myers, where he's always slower. He's still gonna get you. Yeah. I see you in a car.
He's slow.
I see you on your speeder now, getting into your spaceship and trying to leave.
Yeah, well, he's a robotic, so he has to, like he moves robotically. But you got droids doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
You got droids that'll do backflips and handle, go right up against a Jedi. That we've even seen many times before. And you tell me what?
Show me how much his suit hurts him, right? Because that's the design of the suit. The suit is designed to cause him pain and discomfort. So show me that. I mean, I know I've seen panels on the comics where they go into some details about it. Why are you not using that stuff on the larger screen? I don't get it.
Well, there's even the thing that, I mean, the internet and everybody can correct me if I'm wrong, but it was very, very evident, even in the very first Star Wars movie, that Jedi can feel when a planet blows up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're an empath. You feel everything. Like if there was a shooting down the street, you'd be like, "Oh God, oh," you feel that pain and disturbance. It's not pleasant. It's probably
that's why they say. That's why we said they hold Finn, man, because when inside of that series, when that planet got destroyed or something happened, that Finn had a very clear reaction to sensing that ripple move through the forest. And then the next season, because of far as I can tell, 9 performance related on his behalf issues.
Yeah.
He's the next coming of the comic relief character.
Yeah.
And just relegated into that.
They went to comic relief with that.
Yeah, man. It's sad. It's a sad thing, man. It's a sadder thing that we're not able to enjoy it because people is bending to the trolls. And again, full disclaimer, if you don't like this stuff, if you disagree with me, I'm not calling you a troll. No. I'm not calling you a racist. None of that shit, man. You could very well be valid, right? Maybe you should put this at the front tag so they can see this at the beginning and not the end.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, right?
Full
just say if it's not you, then let it slide. But
maybe they just didn't like the story. That's fine.
Yeah. That's fine. Yeah,
hey,
maybe you could disagree with me all day. I didn't like it because X, Y, and Z. That's cool. But there's people out there that got Finn out of there because he was black, and it's people that didn't like Acolyte because, like you said, they're women. They're trying to uplift put the women above the men and make the Jedi look like like trash, while they have these alien lesbian witch cults be the true heroes of the story, like all that stuff. Like, man, that's a shitty reason not to enjoy something. And no, not even that. That's a shitty reason to take something away from me that I enjoy, right? Because that's what we hear talking about. They canceled the Acolyte. They got the Acolyte canceled. Yeah. And the overwhelming conversation seems to be about things that ain't got nothing to do with like a valid reason of why you wouldn't like it.
Yeah. I mean, it comes down to their own personal choices. And then, yes, like the internet is done. Like I'm just going to throw it out on a limb there, but it's not the first show to be canceled wrongfully when the show was good. And the internet trolls have their way to where I even saw there's a petition to save the show. Now, it may not even work, but it's showing Disney, hey, we're not with them. We really enjoyed this.
Show me where that petition at, because I'll sign it. I know a couple 100%. Other people that will too.
I mean, it's something to where, yes, we got the Snyder Cut because we
got that done.
We want this to happen. what happened? Hey, shit, 2020. We need some. Hey, Zach, come on back.
Yeah.
Do your
We got Sonic changed. Supposedly, we got Sonic changed into a different design, right?
Yeah.
So maybe we can get the Acolyte back, man. I really hope we do because I think that like it's a story worth finishing. Now, if they drop the bag on season 2, cool.
Push it out.
But season 1 was not so terrible that it deserved to be canceled when you stand it up next to everything else that Star Wars has put out recently.
Mm-hmm.
It's up there with
Yeah.
some of the better stuff. It might be in a different category,
Yeah.
right, than some of the other stuff. Like you can't really compare the Acolyte to Andor.
No. Yeah.
Right.
No.
They don't really size up, but that's just like two different stories being told inside of the same galaxy.
And Andor really proved the point that you don't need a Jedi to make a Star Wars property. Just like Rogue One. People love Rogue One. As far as movies go, it's the most widely loved and accepted outside of the original trilogy. Because it was a Star Wars story. It was great. You had the blind guy who was a guardian for the Jedi. He wasn't a Jedi. He was one of those people, like we see in Clone Wars show, of, people go up to the temple. They serve at the temple, they help them out. And that's where, with the Acolyte, you're seeing the distrust in the people of the Republic on the Jedi and how they're voicing their concerns on how they're abducting children. The seeds were already there for Palpatine to just stoke the fire and then say, the Jedi just tried to kill me. We're getting rid of them. And everybody's like, yeah! Woo! The masses, the lemmings have already gone there. And they're already on board because they're like, stole my cousin last week.
Jedi, I mean, I don't know, man. I just hope that we get to see these other sides of this story, man. It don't change what the Jedi did or who the Jedi were or what they accomplished or anything like that. It just tells a story of other people's perspectives of those Jedis and that they weren't like a hive mind. There was some better than others. Some rose to occasions and some fell because of things that happened, which has happened since the beginning of Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
If Darth Vader was Anakin Skywalker, who was damn near who was damn near a master or trying to be one.
Yeah.
So if he can make that fall, then why can't Green Karen fall from grace?
Yeah. She
Green Karen Noodle Saber.
All on Soul. I know this is my apprentice made this happen, but it was Soul. He went rogue.
Yeah, again, man, maybe we should do this again with people that have differences of opinion, because I'm arguing against people that's not here when I'm with some of these points that I'm making. So and I'm trying to speak on behalf of people that disagree with me that also aren't here. So maybe you could do a part 2 of this with like some of those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Because even like I mentioned before, Mike, he wasn't really sold on Star Wars, on the Acolyte, but it had nothing to do with what the trolls were. Like he said, they wasted Soul, built up and the connection between the Dark Apprentice and the Master. They did do things that, it was too long for you to release that reveal. There were things that could have improved the story had the characters known, like, oh, well, actually, it turns out he was a Jedi.
Yeah.
Not
but that's for me, that's not enough to cancel a series over.
No.
And that's not enough to just say like the whole thing's terrible. Get rid of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is what's happening. So I don't know, man. I would like to I'm inviting you to invite him to speak his piece.
Oh,
absolutely. I know Frank had some opinions that he wanted to that he had to get off his chest about it. But in my opinion, and I think that you agree with me, bring back the Acolyte. Bring back the Acolyte.
If and only just to give them a chance at redemption.
Right.
You guys weren't happy with this story? All right. We're going ahead with the Acolyte. We're going to keep it going. One more season. It'll be better. If not, it goes away. And that's what it could be.
Right.
But you're right. I absolutely will open this up to Frank
I wouldn't
Mike.
even want. I would say that there is some things that they could have did better, but I wouldn't change the story. I wouldn't change the plot and the story beats, man.
No.
It didn't make sense to me why May had to lose her memory. I didn't really understand that, like where they were going with that. But that's cool. You can show me where you was going with that in season 2.
Yeah.
And if they drop the ball with season 2, and okay, that then I can accept that. I can accept that The Sopranos dropped the ball inside of their last season. I can accept that Game of Thrones dropped the ball when they finished it. So it ain't about that, but you deserve the opportunity. You don't end what I see as a success.
Since you
it's
mentioned
just crazy that Trolls could really take something that was like, it just blows my mind, man, that so many people disliked this when like I thoroughly enjoyed this series, man. It's just like I really don't understand why people didn't like it to the point where it was canceled.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. It did not deserve that.
There were
too
many good
series.
things about it, to just overall cancel. And I got to tell you, I mean, Frank and Mike, they most definitely have their own grievances about it, but I don't think they really wanted it canceled. They just wanted you to do better. Hey, do better next time. Don't be sorry. Do better.
And that's inside the normal range of most stuff, man.
Yeah. Just
if I really wanted to put my Batman cowl on and get analytical, there's a lot of things that they could do better.
Oh yeah.
But I enjoy it enough to continue watching it, even though I don't like everything that happens inside of the. I don't see why Acolyte didn't fit that category for the majority of
we just
viewers.
made 2 Star Wars properties that are amazing ideas. Even in this podcast that we just did. You know what I mean? It's not hard, but we're fans. So we know what we want.
The solution is holler at me and throw $1 at me, and we could get things really popping for Star Wars.
Look, Disney, call us, Perjangers and Wallhangers. We'll make it happen. We'll help save Star Wars from the trolls. Ooh, there you go.
That's right.
Space trolls. We can add that in there as well. Whole new alien race, the space trolls. Oh, yeah.
Episode 1, we're going to kill the troll right from the beginning. Opening season. You don't even got to know how he died. We just stepping over the corpse
a dead body.
Of the space troll.
Maybe they're hanging the troll outside of the city gates to let all the other ones know. Vlad the Impaler style, like, hey, you really want to come in here? And they're like, no, I don't. Actually, we're leaving.
You know what happened? You feel they're gonna cancel us? They're gonna get us out of there quick. You start challenging the trolls, bro. It's a wrap.
Man, yeah, I know. They'll get their farms out, and they were like, oh, cancel Matman.
Yep, it'd be bot central out here, man. So,
but we would at least get 1 season. That's the point. That's
we
the
at least get 1 season. Can't take that check back. We already can't getting that check back.
I already got paid and spent. You can't have it back. That's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, we're definitely going to open this up to Mike and Frank, and I want to hear their perspective because I think we can all have a really interesting conversation with the ayes and the nays.
I know we late, but we still got to talk about. I'm gonna have to watch it again to remember why, but we got to talk about my grievances with and Into the Spider-Verse and Gwen Stacy's character.
Yes, this has been a long time coming. This has been a long time coming.
We'll do that next time.
I liked it overall.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it too, but I ain't going. I don't want to start on that because that's a whole nother episode, man.
We'll have to we'll do that one next, and we'll go through.
I hope my boy Miles come out of that all right, man. Everybody gets one of those, man. It's growing pains, Miles. It's gonna be all right, man. Everybody gets one of those, man. They make you stronger. They make you who you are. That's how you become the hit. That can be your hero story.
Mm-hmm.
I had to leave Gwen Stacy alone. That's how I knew I was a hero.
I got a multiversal restraining order.
Right.
I'm not allowed to go to that Earth anymore for some reason. Miles won't even answer my phone calls. Like, yeah, Miss Stacy, just don't go there anymore. Pick another one.
All right, man.
But all fans of the Perjangers and Wallhangers Media Network, if you are in York, you can go get this man's comic book. So Comic Connection, COMIX. You can get Diary of Sweet Pea as well as Picture Perfect Small Towns, York and Media, PA. You're looking for my second book, Picture Perfect Small Towns, Delco, Volume 1. Well, go right over to the Swarthmore bookstore. That's where you're going to be able to purchase it and see all of the amazing pictures that I do. You'll be able to see all of the amazing artwork that this man does at comic shops near you. Ask for them, and they shall receive. And until the next podcast, gang, we love you, we miss you, and we want to see you then. Bye-bye, boys and girls.
Peace.
Bye.